Hello, hello, and welcome to our Saturday Soul Session in our Sacred Souls group. And I'm very excited to be here today because we're going to talk with Angel Aquarian, who's a lovely being that I've worked with personally. And I'm very excited for what she's going to offer us today and our little chat with, how to align your body with your soul, right? And so I'm just waiting for her to pop on and comment. And hi, Jamie. I'm going through a hot spell right now. It's about 100 already, and it's only 10 a.m. Good. Let me know when you're here, Angel. Hopefully the comments, you'll drop me a comment and I'll see that you're here. So how is everyone doing today? I know we are finishing up our Lionsgate portal, so the energy is quite powerful right now. And it just showed me that Jamie was on. That's good. So we're waiting for Angel. I feel like a lot of the energy that's been going on for the last 3 months has accumulated into this point, right? And there's so much that we're feeling. Good. All right. I always get a little nervous waiting for people to pop on that are supposed to be my guest, because Facebook isn't always kind. But it's going to work out. It's going to work out. So a big theme I've noticed with this full moon that we're still feeling its energy. Full moons last for 3 days, okay? So its apex, its height is at a certain point, but the day before and after, you definitely feel its energy still. And, it's an Aquarius, which is very much our higher mind. And it's showing us what needs to be dealt with in our karma as well. So even if there's people in your lives that are karmically connected to you, maybe you even had a life path or mission together, but it's over. But it's over. Or they didn't hold up their end of the bargain. Hold on, Angel's popping in. Okay. I'm hoping that I will see her on. Hi, Angel, if you're here, drop a comment so Facebook knows you're here, and then it should let me invite you. Guest requests. Let's see. Sometimes it works. Yeah, it's not working today. You gotta always make sure you're on your phone, too. If not, I'll just drop you in, Jamie. We'll do your live. So anyway, back to what I was saying. We're really meant to be here on a mission. What's our mission in this lifetime? And that changes too throughout our life. So for instance, I've had my mother phase, I've had my maiden phase, and now I'm in my queen phase. Oh, Angel, I see you on. That's good. That means that I might be able to bring you on camera soon. And part of my shift and change has been, a lifetime of, struggling with the body and letting you know it's working. And figuring out what we eat. And, I've even struggled with adrenal fatigue. And after my third child, to the point where it says bring them on camera. Oh, yay, you're joining. Hi, Angel. Hi. So I was just briefly talking about, my struggle with weight and diet and lifestyle. And so, I also feel like that when we're spiritual, we have other issues, right? That are also struggle in the physical. And we get a little guarded in our energy. We even put on weight in areas to protect. especially around, our major organs, right? And so when I had adrenal fatigue after my third child, I would wake up in the middle of the night, I would get lightheaded, pass out. I was so overtaxed
Mm.
in my energy. And it really woke me up. And I think my Kundalini was rising as well. And I got stuck, right at the solar plexus, which is a big part of our
Mm.
diet lifestyle. And so I started going, gluten free, juicing, I was trying everything, right? Um, but so much of it just wasn't working for me still, you know? And then you and I worked together, and we talked a lot about beautiful things that really helped me, but especially the ghee. I really loved working with the ghee and how it fired
Mm.
up my cells, my thyroid, my
Mm.
adrenals, everything were just slow, you know. And yeah, now I'm just on fire in so many ways. And still dropping
Yeah,
the weight.
definitely.
Yeah, so I'm very happy for that. Um, because the 40s,
Yay.
I think are the hardest part for women, you know, and I think a lot can relate.
Can be,
Yeah,
sure.
so do tell us what you want to bring and discuss today.
Okay. I have so much to
Mhm.
say about this. I just want to grab my
Okay.
headphones for 2 seconds so that the sound is a
Yes,
little bit better for me.
absolutely.
Just one.
Yeah, I find that self-love too, really loving yourself so much that your body knows what it needs, right? Yeah, we listen so much to everything outside of us. Yeah, when we pull in the
Mm.
self-love and ask our beings, what do I need to make myself feel amazing, right? Yeah. Hmm.
Yes. Okay. All right. I'm fully ready now. Thank you for just rolling through all of that, ironing out the tech issues. All right, so I would just like to just take a moment to invite the audience to come into heart coherence with us. So if you wouldn't mind, anyone who's tuning in right now or the replay, I would love to invite you into a space of presence with us. So if you want to just sit up nice and tall and take a couple of deep breaths, I would appreciate um, just opening up the space like this. So let's just take a deep breath in together. We're going to breathe deep into the belly, filling the full lungs. And exhaling, squeezing like a tube of toothpaste all the way up and out. As you inhale, I want you to breathe in from 360 degrees around, calling all of your energy back home into your core. Exhaling, just releasing tension, stress, worry, stagnation, old density out of the body. A couple more deep breaths here, breathing in from all around into your core. Exhaling completely. Let's do one more together. Breathing deep into the belly. Exhaling completely. Mm. Just a little bit of intention and calling our energy in. I feel like it makes a really big difference. So, all right, Miss Maggie, thank you so much for inviting me to be in here with you to talk about something that I'm so passionate about. I am honored to be in this space, connecting with new community, and so excited to have a chat with you because we have so much to talk about. So, so we're really focusing on clearing out the vessel, right? Because that's ultimately what creates more space for our soul to come more into the body to help guide us through our life, right? That's ultimately the key, the secret sauce, if you will, that helps an individual navigate their life with grace and trust and stay anchored on to the higher timelines that they're wanting to experience while on the earth plane, right? So excuse me. um I'm extremely passionate about this. I have grown up all around the United States in what I would consider an average American household with, um, you know, plenty of childhood trauma, because what would a childhood be without trauma right now on the planet? And I was like led into the party scene and just, living a relatively fun, but also very drama filled, toxic, unconscious lifestyle, right? That's what I led myself into basically as a teenager, and pulled myself out of it in my early 20s. And my entire life has been devoted to healing and undoing the damage that I did with all of the drugs and partying and that type of toxic lifestyle. I should have died many times, and I didn't. And it acted as a near-death experience for me. Not, it's like a little bit different than if you got like in a car accident or something, but it had the same effect on me when I woke up so powerfully and was like, oh my God, oh my God. Thank you, God, for protecting me and making sure that I'm still here. Like, it was an abrupt awakening that was followed by many years of grieving the unconscious way that I was living. And I felt like I had really done some serious damage to my body and my brain, or else I was not willing to settle with the idea that I did irreparable damage. I was willing to go to the ends of the earth to find whatever I needed to find to heal myself on the deepest cellular level and spiritually. And that led me to studying Ayurveda in India, and really leading a movement of bringing back sacred menstruation onto the planet and supporting reconnecting women with their power. So I've been very deep in the health world scene, if you will. I've been doing like every single type of detox and purge and cleanse under the sun for more than 10 years now, to the point where it exhausted my body, because I was a little bit extreme with it at some points, which I'm sure anybody who's like interested in health can probably understand that. But I have learned some very important key pieces that I don't see very often in the world. Even people who think that they have a good understanding of health and eating clean and like generally taking care of their bodies, there's still some very key pieces that are missing, that I am passionate about restoring and educating people, because it's not just about cleaning up your diet or exercising. It's really deep, and it's deeply connected to the negative agendas that have been enslaving humanity. Most people don't understand that our biological makeup and psychological makeup has been studied so that we can be controlled, right? If you can control someone's gut, you can control them. If you can control a population's food, you can control the population. And I just want to take a moment to honor the Native Americans that suffered catastrophic devastation with the original white colonizers that came over. I was just watching this documentary about bringing back indigenous food and learning about how the people who came over to colonize understood the power of controlling the food supply for a people, and they went above and beyond, out of their way, to slaughter millions of buffalo so that they can control the Native American population, right? Like, this tactic has been known, and it never went away. It just went behind the scenes under disguise more. And it is now at a global level on the planet with all the genetically modified foods, the war chemicals that are sprayed on our food. Because if you don't know, that's where pesticides and artificial fertilizers have come from, is from our world wars. They just refined it so much so that they could start marketing it as pesticides. So all of us are exposed to a tremendous amount of toxins every single day. And there's no way to get away from it on the planet right now. Our entire planet is polluted, like hugely from the cars, but the food chain, right? Which is why there's this huge movement towards being sustainable again, growing your own food again, getting off grid, getting out of the system, right? Like you can't just go to the grocery store and buy what is certified USDA organic, because the USDA is full of shit too. So you can't even trust that, right? It's the US government, and they're the ones that have their hands in the pocket of all of the darkness most, right? So it really is a call to all of us to like find our strength and reconnect with our power and get self-sustaining again. Like learn the basic skills to be able to live on the land, right? To live on earth without being dependent on a system outside of ourselves that is really meant to keep us enslaved in a very fancy package that is really appealing with all of the comforts and conveniences. But we don't realize that we are like animals born and raised in captivity in a zoo. We're not in our natural environment. So it's not just about eating healthy, right? One of the biggest culprits to us lacking the vibrancy in our well-being is our microbiome, right? And you can't just take probiotics, right? Like your microbiome is directly related to the microbiome in your internal environment is directly related to your external environment. So until we are actually with our hands in the soil again, like getting dirty, because that's where the good microbes come from, right? They did a study on like elementary children, and they studied their microbiome, and then they compared it to children who go to like a forest school, and it was a stark difference between the health of the guts, like the gut of the children who spend their time in the forest, right? So it doesn't matter actually how much we do while we're still living in these boxes, living in this modern day enslavement. It doesn't matter how much you do if you don't restore the natural environment that you're meant to exist in outside of yourself. You're never ever going to actually reach your full potential and health ever, period. Like you can look at an animal in the zoo, even if they're born and raised in captivity for generations, you can literally see the effect of that artificial environment on the spirit of the animal. It is intuitive, no matter how conscious or unconscious you are, to know that that's not right, that that animal does not belong there. They belong in their natural environment. It's the same for humans. We do not belong in cities. We do not belong living in boxes that cut us off from nature. We are meant to live on the earth in a completely different way than we are right now. So it's a huge, very deep, big, long puzzle that we are faced with working right now. How do we change the way we are living and being on earth? Because it's not just the food. It's not just, like it's not just any one of those little things. It is, holy shit, we have to change radically the way that we are being and living. So, I had been like pulling myself out of this toxic, unconscious way of living all this trauma that I had to leave behind, I, finally took myself to Hawaii, and that gave me the space to heal hugely. And when I left Hawaii to come to the mainland and travel for a few years, I had been up against this force that I couldn't understand, because I went from living on an organic farm there and living a much slower, more peaceful way of life, right? Like eating out of the garden, having a real deep, close connection with Gaia, to buying my groceries out of a normal supermarket again on the mainland, and being in the mess of trauma and disillusion and all of the fucked up energies that are in where there's more people, right? Like, it was traumatizing for me to go from heaven basically into hell again, which I tried so hard to get away from for my whole life. And basically, I was faced with embodying all of this Ayurvedic wisdom that I learned in India and my new way of life. And it seemed like everything was against me when I came back. I didn't have any ground to stand on. Nobody was being really conscious of their health or their well-being or their lifestyle. I was like, oh my God, am I the only one awake here that's actually prioritizing taking care of myself like it is the absolute most important thing in my entire life, beyond everything else and all the other attempts to seek my attention? Because our attention is constantly being grabbed at all day long. That's how the system keeps us distracted, right? We're so busy being in survival, having to work all of the time, being on our phones all of the time, like paying attention to everything outside of us, that most of us can't actually really land in our bodies, because this artificial system that has been created around us is so powerful in its momentum. You can't take it on by yourself. But I didn't see this, right? I didn't understand yet. So I just kept trying to like regain my balance over and over again. I kept like using all the tools that I could possibly grasp to like maintain my frequency internally, to maintain my balance, to maintain my peace. And I've been away from Hawaii for 5.5 years now. Gosh. And after a couple of years of just continuously trying over and over again and feeling like I'm just getting knocked down, like I don't have the right support, it has felt like an impossibility. I realized what I've been up against, the hugeness. I'm like taking on the momentum of the Matrix by myself. No wonder I haven't been able to actually be successful at it. But over the last 5.5 years, I have developed a system for rebalancing, knowing that inevitably I'm going to get pulled out of my balance and clarity, because the culture is so ass backwards for what is actually good for our well-being. Eventually, I developed this system, right? And that system of regaining my balance, I have used over and over and over and over. And it is my personalized program, if you will, that has just developed over the years of being steeped in the American culture, the modern world, while holding all of these codes and wisdom, and knowing that I'm not ever going to really fully maintain the balance that I want while steeped in this culture. But I started just like using all of these tools that I have gained over the years to regain my balance. So I have kind of like I've just kind of like been surfing the waves, right? Like, okay, I'm going to get pulled off of balance, but I know how to bring myself back. And that program that has just organically developed in my life, that I personally use still to this day, and I will probably use for the rest of my life, is the full spectrum temple body reset that me and you have worked in. So it has turned into this container, if you will, of diet, movement, spiritual practice, right? To help someone restabilize, right? And I use it every few months. I continuously put myself through this program and experience, and it is a detox, it's a cleanse, it's also a rejuvenation program, right? It's not just about cleaning yourself out, it's also about nourishing and strengthening yourself on a cellular level, which is what most cleanses don't, they're lacking, right? They're very restrictive and really hard, which is why they don't work for most people. And if you have like eating issues, I don't like the word disorder because I feel like all the issues that basically everybody experiences right now are a result of the artificial enslavement system that we live in. None of us are actually like, it's not us, like the depression, the anxiety, the trauma, it all comes from the system that we're all born and raised in that isn't for our well-being, right? So this program takes into consideration all of that. It takes into consideration the trauma that people are up against every day, being forced to live out of harmony with their spirit, right? So it has turned into a really powerful tool to regain balance. And, I love doing this sort of thing because we touch on so many things and I get to work personally with the individual and share all kinds of really unique codes and pieces of wisdom that are missing, right? Like, just for example, the nutritional integrity of your food. And I just want to go as far as to say, um, please, if you're listening to this and like you don't actually have the means to just eat from your local farmer all of the time or have your own garden, like I just want to remind you the bigger picture of what we're up against right now, and that it's not your fault that you are living in modern day world that does not support our well-being, right? So I just want to say that before I go any further to um, be really easy with yourself, give yourself credit, and just do the best you can with what you have. Don't strive for perfection or make it a burden on yourself, right? Like, it's very inconvenient to be healthy right now. It's very inconvenient and it's more expensive, and it's the harder road to travel on purpose because of the systems that have put in place. It has been made so difficult for someone to actually be healthy. So I honor and commend every single person that is actually trying, because it is a huge thing that we're faced with shifting on the planet right now. And it's going to take some time. It's going to take some generations to start rebuilding society the way that it actually honors the human being and their spirit and their well-being, right? So, like, nutrition, right? Most of the food that we're eating right now, even if it's organic, is so far from what we're meant to eat. Even if it's organic, most of the food that is being grown for us and sold to us, even the best organic food, is still coming from seeds from plants that have been hybridized and crossbred for, like, we'll just take fruit, for instance. Wild fruit has way more seeds in it. It's got way more medicinal properties in the skin, in the seeds. And we have taken all of those beautiful wild creations from Gaia and bred them to have less seeds, to have more sugar, right? So that's just an example. That goes across the board for everything we're eating. Every single thing has been grown over generations for specific qualities that they are no longer in integrity of the original blueprint that Gaia grew them in. So even eating the healthiest, most organic foods you can find is not giving our bodies what nature intended them to have, right? Like the best way you can feed yourself is to grow your own food, period. The next best is to find whoever the local food growers are in your area and eat as much from what they're growing as possible, right? Because there's a real, tangible, powerful connection between our biology and the grids of Gaia, right? The energetic grids, the physical land around us. There's a communication between the intelligence of our physical bodies and the actual land that we live on, right? So nature's so, she's such a genius, right? She's just amazing. And we are designed as a perfect piece of her. We're meant to live in harmony with her. What she grows for us in our local area is what is best for our bodies, period. The season that it is grown in is best for our bodies. Like, all we have to do is look to her. What is she growing right now? That's what my body needs. Whatever's around me, that's what's going to support my body. That's why buying all this food from, like Mexico and basically every other part of the world is not healthy for us. Buying strawberries from Peru or Mexico in the wintertime in America, that doesn't help your body at all.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, it's about becoming more local, right? We have to shift from this global, massive trading corporation that's taking place right now to coming back to supporting local communities, to growing our own food. Like, I help support people get healthier, get more balanced, get clearer while they're still having to live in the matrix, right? Because even though it's not the solution to the root cause of the issue, because the solution to the root cause of the issue is for everybody to become self-sustainable, right? That's the solution to all of our health issues: mental, emotional, physical. Get some land, grow your own food, come back to the earth. She will nurture you back into wholeness. So until we can all have our own land and build these beautiful new earth communities, which we're all receiving the downloads for, I come in to help you, to empower you with tools, mostly from the Eastern traditions, to help you get as healthy as you can be in your current state, so that you can actually house in your body a higher frequency, right? So my job is to help you really understand how your body works and how you can take your health into your own hands, no matter what situation you're in, no matter where you're living, no matter what access you have to what types of nutrition, whatever, because I've lived from coast to coast in America, in some of the deepest, densest parts of the entire country, and I have figured out how to survive in them, right? So I have real embodied experience of what we're up against, and I know how to support you no matter what situation you're in, no matter what you have access to, right? Because I've been there, and I have enough tools and creative thinking and experience to help you align with your highest timeline where you are, no matter what. So this program, the Full Spectrum Temple Body Reset, is the container that holds a compacted version of the knowledge and tools that I have on a much broader perspective when it comes to understanding how to live from an Ayurvedic perspective. And for anyone who's not really that familiar with Ayurveda, it's literally the science of everything. It's the science of life. It's not a religion or a tradition or a culture. It's the science of how everything works in relation to everything else. So I take that deep into the body and show you how your body works in relationship to your environment, in your relationship to your thoughts, and give you the formula basically for creating balance in your body and giving you a container that you can put yourself through again and again and again and again to regain your balance, because that is what our generation is faced with. That is the reality of what we're living in. There's literally no way to maintain the balance that our bodies are meant to exist in by yourself while you're in the culture that most of us are living in right now. So what I have learned after years of trying like hell to maintain this perfect balance and lifestyle that I have cultivated for years, I learned that the only way that we can actually sustain it is either you have to live in isolation, and that's not where humans thrive. We all need community. So that actually doesn't work. So the only way that it can work is together. The only way that we can actually start creating a new culture for ourselves, a new way of living and being, is if we literally link arms together and we start doing these things as a group, as a collective, as a community. We start supporting each other to embody healthy habits. Because if you don't have other people that are reinforcing the healthy lifestyle that you know you need in order to thrive, you will fail. You will fail. Because I've been through it, right? And that's the thing that most people are up against. Like, all right, I know how to do all these things. I'm conscious, I'm aware, but no one else around me is doing them. And that's where I feel like most light workers are at, like feeling like they're an island unto themselves, and like it's an impossibility to do the things we know we need to do to maintain our frequency, our balance, and stay anchored into a higher timeline. So I love doing this type of work because I'm a veteran in it, and I am a force when it comes to reminding people how powerful they are and to tap into the magic that's in their bodies, right? To do the things that we're taught can't be done, right? I love sharing this example because it's so powerful and a testament to this type of work. I have worked with a man for the last year and a half, teaching him everything I know about Ayurveda, about really cultivating like your spiritual body, and really like having such a strong connection with your soul that starts to override your lower egoic perspective and programs, and you really start tapping into the divinity inside of you. So this man I've been working with for a year and a half was born with a defect in his heart. He had 5 open heart surgeries by the time he was 17. And now he playfully says he didn't know shit until he met me. He thought that he was living a healthy life. He thought that he was like pretty conscious. And I think that he was further along than the majority of the population. But after he met me and I started teaching him Ayurveda, it totally changed his life. And after a year working together, he went in to see his doctor, and his doctor was shocked, discovering that a hole in his heart had naturally healed itself. And he said that's not normal behavior for cardiac cells, and he didn't know what he was doing but to keep doing it, right? So it isn't just the fact that his diet has been completely changed. It's the fact that I have been working closely with him for an extended period of time, activating his own mastery and fanning that flame of, you have such powerful influence over your biology. Yes, get all of the practical pieces in place. Take care of yourself. Eat clean. Meditate. Do the mindset work. All the things, but also like the close working with someone who's mastered and embodied in an area of your life that you want to master and embody. That's priceless. Like, that's hard to put into words. That's the intelligence of both of our bodies communicating, and also our souls. It's a quantum thing. It's multidimensional, and that's what really delivers the activation and the codes into the person seeking that level of embodiment and mastery, right? So I feel like I have just been talking for so long without even taking a breath.
Yeah,
I told you I had a lot to
recognizing,
say.
the pure light in your soul, right? And that, and our own divinity is so important. And obviously I do energy work around that as well. But I was thinking about that the other day. People that do work on themselves daily, energy wise, however that looks for you, um, it brings you
Mm-hmm.
back to your original blueprint. And yes,
Definitely.
yes. And so I really love too, you had mentioned when we worked together, about where we live and how it affects you. Can you touch on that a little bit? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course. And I love using the example of the animals in
Mm-hmm.
a zoo, because that's how I view
Mm-hmm.
humanity right now. Like, we're okay, I'll just give you an example, right? Like, whenever I go out in nature, I'm sure most whoever is tuning in can agree to this. When you're in nature, don't you just feel so much better? You feel clearer. You have more energy. You feel more connected, right? Whenever I'm out in nature, I feel so good. When I come back
Yeah.
into the house, that's when I feel tired and
Mm-hmm.
foggy, because these houses, the way that they're structured, literally cut us off from the environment and the energy that we're meant to exist in, right? It's the same with all wild animals. Now, I'm not saying that we all just need to like go back into the forest and like run around naked and like not live in houses or anything. What I'm saying is, though, that the houses that are built for us right now are not built for our well-being. The geometry of them are out of harmony with Mother Nature. Like, that's why, I'm a huge fan of Earth ships. For anybody who still is not familiar with Earth ships, please Google them and check them out, because they're amazing. They are like a totally new concept of houses that are built partially in the ground, and they're totally off grid, and they combine a greenhouse with your home. So there are trees and bushes and plants, and you can have like a pond and a stream in earthships. You're not connected, you're not disconnected or cut off from nature. Nature is a part of your house. And they also don't have all of the electricity running through them, right? Like, this is so deep, Maggie. Like, just the frequencies that we're exposed to every day are fucking toxic for us, just from our electricity in our house. then you go into like Wi-Fi and all the cell towers and all of these frequencies that we are constantly being bombarded by. Like there are so many small aspects put into place to keep us out of tune with Mother Nature's song. Like I literally could go on for days, every single layer that has been put in place to keep us out of harmony, which is why, like, it's a huge picture. Like, we have to change the way we live. It's not one piece, it's all of it, right? So also, like, when we are living inside of these boxes, and everyone has just been so freaking programmed to make our environments sterile, like 99.9% of the cleaning products that are still used are appallingly toxic to Mother Earth and to our bodies. And they're still widely used in every household, most of them, every day. So it's like we have become obsessed with sterility. We need dirt. We need to touch Gaia. We need to be in her environment, like just like those kids that they did the study on with their microbiome. The ones that are out in the forest playing, being dirty in the natural environment, their guts are the healthiest. The kids who are stuck in sterile classrooms and inside boxes, their guts reflect the sterility of the environment that they're in. So I don't like, there's another study done that it measured the diversity in our guts, in our microbiome, and concluded that, you know, we are such a reflection of the earth. This study showed that most people that live in or near cities have 30% of their gut microbiome diversity completely extinct. Like, we're missing a huge chunk of the biodiversity inside of our bodies, just like Mother Nature is like, there's still people cutting down her forests. There's still total like demolition and rape of her flesh. So it goes hand in hand. What you do for your body, for your own well-being, is the best thing for Gaia also. And the best thing for Gaia is the best thing for our well-being. So, you know,
That
like
makes sense.
we're so out of touch with how we're meant to exist, right? Like everything that's artificial doesn't serve our well-being. And I don't know about you, but you know, just looking around at this room that I'm in right now, I don't see a whole lot of natural light or energy. I see a synthetic carpet, toxic paint on the walls, a mattress that's made with a bunch of synthetic shit. Like, when we really start tuning into the subtler realms and we start becoming more sensitive and aware, we're meant to be in an organic environment, and all of us are living in an artificial world right now. So that is, of course, going to affect the organic nature of our bodies.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, of course, grounding is a huge part of it. And when we ground, because I feel like we are almost like batteries on the planet, where we have our positive and negative polarity. And this is why we're able to not fall off the planet too, you know, right? We have our own nature's batteries within us even. And this is why, you know, we talk about earthing and going barefoot on the earth and connecting to nature. Even digging in your potted plant, right? And playing with your one herb that you may have. is going
Mm-hmm.
to help your energy field. Yeah, because our root chakra, our base
Totally.
chakra is blocked. We get energetically constipated as well. But I'm
That's where most
curious, do you
people are.
find that it's most important to have dirt? Like, what do you feel about hydroponics and people that are just growing in their kitchen?
Um, I don't personally
Mhm,
resonate with
mhm.
growing in water because my own wisdom and internal guidance tells me the further away from the way that nature does it, the worse it is for us. So the closer we can get to how
Mhm.
she does it, the more we're going to be integrity cellularly, right? Like nature doesn't grow
Yeah.
things in water like that. She uses soil. So what I have found, like when I have experienced some hydroponically grown
Mhm.
things, there's literally like a groundedness that
Yeah,
that thing is
I
missing
feel.
because it wasn't grown in the ground. Like, sure, it can work, but are we following Mother
Mhm.
Nature, right? It's like biomimicry. We need to look to her to see how she does it. Don't overcomplicate it. It doesn't have to be this big, like we're living in a world that was created from the mind right now. Everything that we see in the world was created by the mind. While humans have not been embodied in their heart or in their bodies, we've just been overthinking, over mentally stimulated. We still are. Everyone's still like way too much in their masculine energy. Like most people that are like inventing and developing things are way overcomplicating it. And we need to simplify, like come back to observing how
Mhm.
nature does it,
Yeah.
right? That's just my own personal opinion. And like, it depends on your situation. Like, if it is hydroponically, organically grown produce compared to
Yeah, yeah,
McDonald's,
obvious.
obviously eat the hydroponically grown
Right.
produce. It's like, where are you and is it
Hmm.
a step
Hmm.
better, right? Not like, is it the
Yeah.
perfected version, but like, how can you start moving your life in
Hmm.
that direction? So I love what you said about, just even playing in your own
Hmm.
potted plants. When you come back into your own kitchen, your own lab, and you work with whole plants and ingredients with your hands, you touch them, that's also a way to start coming back to Mother Nature, even in your own house. When we're living in these boxes that are keeping us out of alignment, just washing your produce, chopping your vegetables, like being present with that substance and piece of Gaia right in front of you, looking at the beautiful colors and textures and variety that she provides us, right? It brings you into presence. It gets your hands on her, even in your own kitchen. So that is one thing that is you can't actually heal if you don't learn to cook. If you don't start really understanding the
Hmm.
importance of making your own food, you're not actually
Hmm.
going to heal. Because that is like the ancient
Hmm.
way of healing. That's how it's
Hmm.
always been. We heal ourselves through food and using food as medicine and like really making an art and a therapy out of it. It's not just eating something healthy. It's like, you know, I don't know if you are familiar with the books Anastasia and the Ringing Cedars of
Oh,
Russia.
yeah. You know that. Yeah.
Yeah, so those I that entire series of books has like been the biggest influence in my entire life. I highly, highly recommend everyone on the entire planet read those books because she gives us a clear vision of actually the natural way for humans to live on Earth and how to get back there from our modern day reality, right? Um, they're just amazing and inspiring, and I've learned so much about how to actually be from those books. I'm like, what was I about to say about them? Damn, I lost that thought. Hopefully it will come back in a second. I'll just like say one thing about out of those books that gives you a good idea of what's in them is I learned from her how to make your garden your own personalized pharmacy. She gives instructions on how to take the seeds of the food you're going to plant and hold them in your mouth for a few minutes. And the idea is that the intelligence in the seed reads your DNA and biology and then grows things specifically tailored to your body, right? It's so amazing. So like when we really start opening our eyes up to how we're meant to live, it's shocking and devastating when you really start to see how far away we are right now from how we're supposed to live.
Yeah, and so I
So,
guess, people that don't have gardens today, I like that idea of going to your farmer. You definitely can do you pick things, or you even go pick it yourself. A lot of these farms will have excess or stuff that's, not as pretty, for the markets that they'll let you.
and most of them will let you
Yeah,
volunteer
exactly. My mom always had a
for
fabulous
food. Yeah.
garden. And so, I want to get back to that.
Lucky
Yeah,
you.
so I grew up that way. Always thinking of the garden and
Oh,
the
awesome.
land. But then there's also community gardens, when there's classes and we can learn and we can start somewhere and we have to.
Totally.
It's time.
Everyone can start somewhere, and it's going to
Yeah,
require everyone to turn this
yeah.
ship around, basically, because we've been going in the wrong direction, and now there's enough of us awake, and we need all hands on deck. Every single person that can possibly help start moving your
Hmm.
individual life in the
Hmm.
direction of nature again, do it. And honestly, like there's so many impossibilities that
Hmm.
we're faced with right now, but it like the only way that this planet can shift is us accessing our mastery and not being willing to accept an impossibility in front of us, being determined to manifest a miracle, a solution, a way through it. Like we're literally going through our collective dark night of the soul initiation that is going to help us blossom into an angelic
Hmm.
civilization. You don't become an angelic civilization without getting your ass royally kicked and having to pull an entire planet out of darkness. It's a huge thing, right? That we're going through right
Yeah.
now. It's it's deep, it's long, it's going to take a while, and we also already
Hmm.
made it.
Yeah.
We already made it through the darkest part of this entire planet, and now we are in the active stages of birthing a new paradigm
Mm.
onto the planet.
Our new
So,
Earth. Yeah. Our new Lemuria.
mm, yeah, when it's a bit more uh, mature and with
Hmm. Hmm.
boundaries,
Yeah.
right? And
And
like
I
a
do
sense of
feel like,
empowerment.
it will be new in that, yeah, there will be some technology still, but we'll still be going to the old ways with our food and being in nature. That's so important. And the other thing, that
Definitely.
always comes to my mind too, I've been in Florida with hurricanes. Uh, those ships aren't coming into the land delivering food. Those ATMs aren't working. There can be a time where we
Mm,
are our own island, literally, and we have to know how to
yep,
survive in that. We really do.
yep,
Yeah. And so we have to start somewhere. We have to have familiarity with herbs and the medicines that we need to heal ourselves. Absolutely. Um, yeah.
totally.
I,
Just living closer
mm-hmm.
to nature. That's the medicine everyone
Yes.
needs. Nature and
Yes.
community.
Yeah, so you really make me want to move. You know? Yeah.
Good. And also, like, don't resist where
Right.
you are, but
Right.
aspire to create your own space of love and
Mhm.
heaven on
Yeah.
earth, right? Because it's coming back to the land that's going to
Yeah,
heal everyone.
definitely. Right.
Yeah. And I just wanted to, I wanted to add something else, that like I am every day I feel like I try to convey the importance of this because it doesn't get grasped enough, except for the people who are like actually genuinely ready for it. But like you're what you feed yourself controls your chemistry. It literally controls the thoughts that you are able to reach for. So, yes, all the energy work is great. And if you don't address that, you cap yourself off from what you're able to do for yourself and how you're able to serve others. Because if your vessel is polluted and damaged, you literally can't hold very much of your soul. Like, you can't get around it. If you don't dial your diet in and everything that you absorb, you you cap yourself off, right? So I love supporting sensitives and energy workers and healers because there are so many incredible healers just like on a soul level. They're just amazing. They already have innate powerful healing abilities, but they haven't had the right support to really honor their physical health, and they can't really move past a certain point because, like, when we look at it like a frequency thing, if your frequency isn't high enough, you can't access, higher states of being, higher states of consciousness. It doesn't matter how much energy work you do. If you are not addressing that aspect of your physical vessel, you can't get very far, right? Like I've seen so many wounded healers that their health is
Well,
just shit. Like their
yeah.
physical health is just shit. And I feel so bad for honestly everyone because I know it's nobody's fault and we're all just like trying to survive in this reality that doesn't support our well-being. And I realize the ancestral karma that gets passed on to us and how some of these really powerful lineages of healing are like barely holding on by like a thread trying to like survive and stay on the planet right now. So I'm like extremely passionate about supporting other healers and
Right.
sensitives because we're the ones that have the connection to source that the rest of the world needs. And the stronger our own connection can be, the more we're able to ground more of our soul into our own body, the stronger of a pillar of light we're going to be on the planet, and the more we're going to
Yeah.
be able to help. And the better we're going to feel, and the more we're going to be able to thrive in our own individual reality. Um, so I just wanted to say that, and I want to just add a piece of compassion for everyone. If your diet and lifestyle isn't perfect and you still feel called to heal, there's always people that are at your caliber that need your help. So you don't have to be perfect. And I want to encourage you to really double down on your own well-being because that's just going to amplify your ability to
Mhm.
serve.
Well, all healers definitely need to be in their body to anchor it in, to anchor in the energy, whatever that is. I do find that when people are doing their proper energetic work, though, They love themselves. They want to take better care of themselves. And also,
Yay.
eating with intention, even as you're eating, right? Loving your food, blessing
Yes.
food is literally to bring it to its highest vibration. And that's something else that's a lost
Mm.
art.
You just you just made me remember what I was saying earlier, the thought that I forgot. So in Anastasia, she talks about how everyone has a
Mhm.
ray, right? I call it your ray of
Mm.
consciousness. She talks about how everyone has it, and you have the ability to actually warm people with your ray, like the sun. And your ray is where your focus is, right? So when it comes to making your own food at home, every step you take is infusing your food with more influence of your ray of consciousness, right? So, when I spend the time going to the farmer's market and washing all of my produce and like taking my time to chop everything up and mix everything together, every single step you put into your nourishment with your attention and intention literally affects the energy of the food. Then, when you sit down with reverence and you tune into gratitude and you give thanks to Mother Nature and whatever else you're giving thanks for to bless your food, you are again infusing it with more energy from your ray, right? The consciousness of humanity, our consciousness affects everything around us, whether it's
Yep.
natural or artificial. That's
Mhm.
how powerful we are. So when you take your ray of consciousness and you start putting it on yourself or your nourishment or your food or whatever you're doing, that's what you're amplifying, right? Because we're so powerful and magical. We have that powerful of an influence. So I just wanted to add that every step you put into your food infuses it with more light, with
Mhm.
more love, with more benevolent energies that interact with the innate intelligence of your body. It absorbs better. Your body knows what to do with it. Like we're highly influencing every single thing in our reality. So when you turn that influence onto your
Mhm.
own well-being, you better expect to
Mhm.
transform because you will, because you're that
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah, and when we eat out, we have to think about where it was farmed, picked, delivered, cooked it, who served it, what was their energy? Were they in a bad mood? Were they, it's like that
Mm-hmm.
beautiful book. What is it? Like Water for Chocolate, I think it's called, where, the lady's making the wedding cake for her sister, but she's crying in it, because it was supposed to be her love that she was going to marry.
Yes.
And everybody at the party ends up just crying because they are eating this cake that is in that, despair. But we really have to
Mm-hmm.
be, yeah, cognizant of everything that's put in front of us, even from someone else that delivers it to you. Yeah. Mhm.
Absolutely. And you have to understand, like, there's no profit in that industry without cutting corners on the quality of the ingredients. So, like, eating out is never going to be as good for you as eating at home. And, I could, again, talk for days about every little thing that has been put in place to
Mhm.
poison us subtly every day. Like, just the low quality oils that are used in every single place that you
Yeah.
can eat out are toxic for
Mhm.
our body. Just
Mhm.
that alone. So, like, it's highly inconvenient. It's really not easy to be healthy, and you have to be so vigilant and paying attention to everything that's coming into contact with your
Mhm.
organism. Uh, I just like I remind people of this every day, like what you're up against. This is not
Mhm.
easy. You got to give yourself so much credit for every effort you put forth in being better, because the entire world is trying to keep you sick and disconnected. So it requires some resilient beings to be present on Earth right now to literally create a new world for ourselves. So I just want to take a moment to say thank you to you, Maggie, and everyone that's tuning in, and like all of the humans that are sensitive in their hearts, showing up to do the work, doing your absolute best every day. We literally need every single one of us to do this. So I just want to say thank you so much, and I honor you and the courage that you're choosing every day to show up for the path that is not as easy and convenient, because you know it is what's right and for all of our highest good. So thank you.
Thanks for being here today. Yes, so much
Thanks for having me.
beautiful energy always comes from you, and wisdom. And yeah, I look forward to working with you again in the future. And definitely,
Yeah, I would
look up
love that.
Angel, make sure you're following her on Facebook. She has, tremendous offerings for everyone at every level. We can't all, spend a year with you, though that would be amazing. But,
Totally.
just even in our discussions today, right? I do hope that a spark within all of you has been ignited to be passionate about what you eat and what you put into your bodies. And yeah, hopefully we can all grow our own food and have our permaculture. Yeah,
Eventually. It's
yes,
inevitable.
it is. And I'm gonna go work on that today. What do I need to do to
Good, me too. I'm
manifest
gonna go ride
that?
my bike.
Yeah, yeah. Good. Thanks for
Yay.
being
Well,
here.
thank
And
you
thank you
so
everyone
much.
for watching. And please let us know that you've watched by commenting. It helps the algorithms. And we love all of you very much. And I love you, Angel. Mwah.
I love you too. Thank you
Everybody
so
have an
much.
amazing Saturday and manifest your dreams, please. And we'll
Definitely.
see you next Saturday.
All right.
Bye.